eat in the morning. Okay? So, okay, remember students that the digestive system, when you speak of the digestive tract, is consisting of the main organs of the digestive tract. Okay? So how did you discuss it? Did you start it from the oral cavity? Okay? So the discussion was from the oral cavity. So it means that we discussed starting from the lips. Okay, so the digestive system, so the discussion must be from the lips and then from the lips. Anyway, so these will be discussed also in the head and neck. Okay? So, you could just begin discussing, where did you begin? How about the tongue? So the oral cavity was not discussed. So from where? Pharynx? From the esophagus. Okay. So remember the student in the oral cavity is the entire opening. Okay, so that's why it's called digestive. It begins with an opening and ends with another opening. Okay? So ika nga, you put it in your mouth and then itatain nyo lang. Okay? You just put it in your mouth and then itatain nyo rin. Okay, just remember students that from the lips, and then it will be passing through where? What are the parts of the oral cavity? From the oral cavity, oral vestibule. Okay? And then from the oral vestibule is the oral cavity proper. Okay? And then from the oral cavity proper, the food will be pushed forward through peristaltic movement passing to the pharynx. Okay, no peristaltic movement yet from the pharynx. And then from the pharynx to the esophagus. Okay, so how long is the esophagus?
25.
The entire esophagus is around 10 inches or 25 centimeters. Okay? Okay, by the way, before I forget, when is the exam of Dr. Rasal? Thursday. So we will be giving this part on Thursday, but my part, nag-announce pa nga lang, wala kayong bili. Okay, so my part, I cannot give it in this week because I have so many important things to do. So I will just be giving my part on Monday together with the practical exam. My part, okay? So if Dr. Rasal will give 50 points for his part, then I will give another 50 parts on Monday afternoon. So instead of having lab in the afternoon, you will have written. I will see if I could make it and move it on Thursday. Okay, but I will see my schedule first. But tentatively, since I wasn't able to see my schedule on Thursday, I don't think I will be here. Hindi ako pwede ng Friday. I'm not here on Friday. Actually, Thursday and Friday is I am in Manila. Okay? So, andito lang ako pag Thursday pag wala akong klase ng Manila. Friday is a regular class for Central Escolar University. Okay? Because I am teaching in Central Escolar University also. Thursday is perpetual. Okay? So, tentatively, it will be scheduled on Monday, but if ever that I will be here on Thursday, because remember student that next week is the foundation day. Okay? So everybody will be busy. 3 and 4 will be the International Research Forum. 3 and 4 Research Forum. O 4 and 5. I think 4 and 5 Research Forum. And then 6 is the Grand Alumni Homecoming. Anyway, the Grand Alumni Homecoming will be in the evening. But I think in the daytime, there will be parade. Okay? Anyway, pwede naman tayo magklase habang naparada sila nagkaklase tayo. Kasi, I don't know if they will declare it as holiday to the whole school. Hindi ko alam. Wala namang announcement tayo. Okay? Okay, so just remember that the digestive system as I told you before, is divided into two parts. Okay, the one is the digestive per se, and the other organs are the accessory organs for digestion. Okay, so if you begin from the esophagus is around 10 inches or 25 centimeter ang length. Okay, and then when it comes to the muscle that is found, I told you before that the upper portion of the esophagus is purely skeletal muscle. And the middle third is composed of both skeletal and the smooth. And then the lower third of the distal esophagus is made up of smooth muscles. Okay? So that's why from the middle third below, okay, it is where the peristaltic movement begins. Okay? Now it is very easy to remember when it comes to histology because you know, from the upper portion, the lower portion of the esophagus until the upper portion of the anus is covered by columnar epithelium. Okay? So the only thing that you need to remember is if you are looking in the microscope, okay, so which part? Is it gastric? Is it duodenal? Is it jejunal? Or the ileum? Okay? Okay, so let's begin. So let's say, for example, so you are looking at the esophagus, but since we are studying the digestive system, so we will begin discussing with your abdominal part of the esophagus. How long is the abdominal esophagus? If you have 10 inches, how long is the abdominal esophagus? And where does the esophagus enters before it reaches the abdominal cavity? It passes through the diaphragm. And then, what opening? How many openings do you have in the diaphragm? Esophageal, caval, and the aortic. Which one is the highest? Are you sure? What is the position of the esophageal opening? Which one is the most posterior and which one is the most anterior among the three openings? And at what level? See, hindi ko alam. At what level? At what level is the esophageal? At what level is the caval? And at what level is the aortic opening? Okay, so just remember that the esophagus passes through the esophageal hiatus, okay, esophageal opening, okay, and then it will go enter the abdominal cavity, and then it becomes what? It enters where? After it passes through the esophageal opening, it enters at what part of the stomach? Kala ko di-lecture kanina. Hindi, Dr. Marambao, hindi sila nakikinig kanina sa lecture mo. What? Goodness. Diaphragm. Okay. What is the usual shape of the stomach? J shape. Okay. It pass there. Tama ba ang drawing ko? Hindi ako maganda mag-drawing eh. Okay. Ganda, no? Okay? Okay, so it will enter your esophageal hiatus or the esophageal opening, and then how long is your abdominal esophagus? How long? How many centimeters? Maiksi lang yun. Around how many centimeters? Some other books says 4 centimeters lang, so it's very short. Okay? And then, it will enter what part of the stomach? What are the part of your stomach?
The body.
Ano nilecture kanina? What are the part of the stomach? Okay. So remember that this is your esophagus. Okay? So what is this part of the esophagus today? I mean the stomach. Remember that what are the part of your stomach? This is your, what is this? Fundus. And then this part is the body. Okay? And then this portion is the pylorus. Okay. Talking about the stomach students, take note that there are three parts of the stomach. So you have the fundus, the body, and the pylorus. And then you have this opening. What do you call this area here? Incisura cardiaca. Okay? And then there is another angle here. What do you call that angle? Incisura angularis. Okay? So remember that it is connected to, and then it will form, and then it form the small intestines. Okay? So this area, okay, of the stomach, okay, so this is the fundus, the body, and the pylorus. Okay, when it comes to the blood supply, arterial blood supply, of the stomach. Okay, so remember that how many curvature? Okay, let's make it curvature. Okay.
Paano nga sila?
So this one is the lesser curvature, and this one is the greater curvature. Okay? Now, if you're going to look at this, remember that you have your abdominal aorta. Okay? So your abdominal aorta will be giving off branches. What are the branches of your abdominal aorta? Diniscuss na ang aorta, hindi ka. Pero yung blood supply, na-discuss. Okay? So remember, student, that you have your abdominal aorta. So you have your visceral unpaired part of the abdominal aorta. What are the visceral unpaired part of the abdominal aorta? You have three. Okay? CSI. Ano yung CSI? Hindi yung mall, ha? Kaya hindi yun mga, you will not forget this because you have your acronym. So C is the celiac, and then S is superior mesenteric artery, and I is the inferior mesenteric artery. Okay? Now, when it comes to the blood supply of your stomach, students take note that take note that your area, okay, of the lesser curvature is supplied by two arteries. What are they? So the upper portion is supplied by what vessel? Left gastric artery. Okay? How about the lower part of the lesser curvature? It is supplied by the right gastric artery. Now, talking about the origin, what is the origin of the left gastric artery? The left gastric artery is the first, remember that, let's say, for example, it is your abdominal aorta. Okay? So the first abdominal aorta will be giving off branches. So what are the first branches of your celiac artery? And then, okay, you have your superior mesenteric, and then you have your inferior mesenteric. Okay? Now, what are the branches of the celiac artery? Your celiac artery will be giving off how many branches? The celiac artery will be giving off, number one, left gastric artery, LSH. What is LSH? Left gastric artery is splenic artery and the hepatic artery. Okay? So the left gastric artery will be arising directly from the celiac artery. But your splenic artery will be giving off two branches. What are the two branches? The left gastroepiploic. This left gastroepiploic will be supplying the upper portion of the greater curvature, left gastroepiploic artery. Okay? And then there is another branch that is arising from the splenic artery, which is your short gastric artery. The short gastric artery supplies the fundus. Okay? Okay, where do you find your splenic? So let's say, for example, that this is your celiac artery. Okay, so you have your blue, hindi siya red. Wala akong makitang red eh, ayun. Okay, so pupunta dyan, celiac artery. Okay, and then check on the student that the left gastric artery will also supply some part of the esophagus. Okay? Okay, so your celiac artery will be giving off a branch which is your splenic artery. This splenic artery will be, it is a Sertus artery that is passing superior to the pancreas. Okay? And then until it reaches the spleen. Okay? So this splenic artery will be giving off two branches. One branch is the left gastroepiploic and the other is the short gastric. Okay, now your celiac artery will also be giving off the hepatic branch. The hepatic branch will be, so this is the hepatic artery, which will be divided into two parts, the left hepatic and the right. Oh, this is the left hepatic, or this is the right, and this is the left hepatic artery. Okay? And then it will give some branches down. Okay? So this is your right gastric artery. So the right gastric artery is a branch of the hepatic artery, and the hepatic artery arises from the celiac artery. Okay? So aside from there, what is another branch? There is another artery that will pass here, and that is your what? Superior pancreatic or duodenal artery. Or I mean the gastroduodenal artery. So it will be giving up another branch and give you the gastroduodenal artery. So the gastroduodenal artery will be giving up two branches. What are they? What are the two branches of the gastroduodenal artery? It will be giving up the superior pancreatic or duodenal artery. Okay? So, if you're going to look, so remember that most of the blood supply of your stomach is arising coming from the cilia. Okay? Is it clear? Okay, how about the venous drainage? So the venous drainage, that area of the structure, for example, the lesser curvature. So all the blood that is coming from the lesser curvature will be drained towards to whatever is the accompanying artery. You understand? So the venous blood will be going to the gastric vein for the upper, and then on the lower part of the lesser curvature will be drained toward the right gastric vein. Understand? And then same thing with the fundus to the short gastric, and then left gastroepiploic to the upper part of the blood supply of the upper part of the of the upper part of the greater curvature, and then the lower part of the curvature is the left gastroepiploic. So this gastroepiploic student is a branch of what? Gastroduodenal artery. Okay? So what happened? All of this will anastomose each other. Like for example, the right gastric and the left gastric will anastomose. Same thing with your gastroepiploic. Is it clear? Okay, so when it comes to the lymphatic drainage, how about the lymphatic drainage of the stomach? Where will it go? Or what collects the lymph coming from the stomach? How about the nerve supply? How about the nerve supply, student? Okay, so from there, so let's say for example, so this is the picture of your stomach. Okay? So, alin ang tama? Pagano?
Yeah.
Right away, where can you find? In what abdominal quadrant can you find the stomach? Or what abdominal region can you find the stomach? The stomach is occupying the area of the... What is this? What are the 9 regions of the anterior abdominal wall? From Dr. Acevedo's lecture. Paano na nagbabasa? Paano kung nagbigay kami ng quiz ngayon? Zero kayo. What are the 4 quadrants of the abdomen? Abdominal wall. Okay, so this is your right upper quadrant, left upper quadrant, right lower, and the left lower quadrant. So these are the 4 quadrants. How about the region? How many regions are there in the anterior abdominal wall?
9.
So how do you form the 9? How will you be able to make 9 regions of the anterior abdominal wall? What are the planes or lines that will transect each other? My gosh. Bagsak na. Yeah. Okay? So how do you will draw an imaginary umbilicus. And then,
Jewish.
draw the 9 regions. What do you call this? Okay, let's begin from the center. The center is the epidermal straight. The one with the umbilicus is the umbilical. Okay, how about the lowest one? Okay, what do you call the right? Right hypochondrium or right hypochondria. Okay, left hypochondria. How about this? Right lumbar, left lumbar. How about this? Right iliac, left iliac. Huwag niyo kakalimutan ito kasi ulit-ulitin na naman yan sa surgery. Kapag sabihin, wala kami tinuro sa inyo. Okay. Kung nandiyan ang stomach, which part of the 9 regions can you find the stomach? Epigastric, saan pa? Can you still find it in the left hypochondrium and the umbilical? So those are the 3 regions where you could see this stomach. Do not forget that. It's beginning at the epigastric. Okay? Remember that the stomach is like this. Okay? So it occupies the epigastric, the left hypochondrium in the umbilical region. Okay? Now, what is the clinical significance? Why do you need to know these quadrants and regions? Because just by identifying the quadrants and the regions, you will be able to understand what are the organs below or inside of the abdominal cavity. So if you're talking about the right hypochondrium, so what organs do you have there? Doktor, may masakit po dito po, ano po? Because you know, students, the patients will not tell you, Doctor, I have pain in my right hypochondrium. Not unless he opened his Facebook. They will always say, masakit po ang aking stomach. Ang tawag pa nga nila, stomach. Okay? But actually, when you say stomach, it is the whole of the abdominal cavity. Okay, so what organs are seen in the right hypochondrium? Liver, what else? Gallbladder, the biliary tree. Okay? So in the epigastric, what do you have? Okay, please, okay, for your assignment. So please try to understand and correlate what are the organs that you will see in all the abdominal regions. Diba, di-discuss ko sa inyo yan next week. And then same thing if you say background. Understand? Kasi for example, you have a patient, it comes to the OR, he came to the OR, to the emergency room, and then, Doktor, masakit po dito kung sa tiyan po dito sa OR. Okay? So, by just looking at it, you will see that it is right lower quadrant. So what are these common structure that is common in the right lower quadrant or in the right inguinal? What is the most common organ there? Male patient. Appendix is number 1. Okay? And then in female, what is the other structure aside from the appendix? Ovary, fallopian tube. Okay? So that's why student, it is more difficult to diagnose appendicitis in female patient than the male. Okay? In male patient, pag may pain sa right lower quadrant, may history ng nausea and vomiting and low-grade fever, appendicitis. So, welcome na kayo.
Yes.
Ayaw, stop okay, please, for the operating room. I will make what you call this, emergency appendectomy because the patient, the appendix might rupture, so I need to do the appendectomy now. Okay? Students, yung when you schedule appendectomy, hindi na yung schedule is always E. It is always E. Stop. Understand? Kaya kung may mga elective surgery, the elective surgery will give way for the appendectomy. Why? Okay, appendix, fracture. And pag nag-fracture yun, major surgery na yun. Okay? Di baka matulpo kayo. Matulpo yung doktor. Huwag mo makakalimutan yan kasi yan yung lagi nilang sinasabi sa surgery. Anatomy people are not teaching the abdomen specifically. Okay? Okay, so let's begin. Something lang. Okay, so talking about the students already, this is your lesser curvature. So what momentum is attached to the lesser curvature? The lesser momentum. Okay? And then, ito mga patla ito, yan yung greater momentum. Okay? So the greater momentum is what classification is your momentum? Are they mesentery? Where can you find the mesentery? Diniscuss ang small intestine. So what is the main function of your momentum? The moment you open up your abdominal cavity, you will see a yellowish. Okay, normally the color of the momentum is yellow in color. Okay, you will see them hanging all throughout the abdominal cavity. Okay, so because remember that the greater momentum is the policeman of the abdomen. Okay, this momentum is the one that protects the abdominal cavity from where? From the rubber. Where does it protect? Infection. Okay? Yan ang policeman eh. Whenever there is, let's say for example, you have appendicitis. So when you open up, and there is already an abscess formation along where your appendix is, you will see that the omentum is localized in that area where the appendix is. Okay? Okay? So that's why the omentum will be localized there. So it will localize there so that the infection, specifically the pus or the abscess, will not be scattered all over. Okay? So that the infection will be just localized where the appendix is. You will see this when you will be going inside of the operating room. Okay? And then take note, students, that if you are going to open up, what can you see? Okay, so by the way, so this is your abdominal esophagus. Okay? So it enters the diaphragm via your esophageal hiatus. There's a curvature, greater curvature. Okay? Then what else? What are these? These are the nerves. Remember, student, that you have sympathetic and parasympathetic innervation in the stomach. So, the parasympathetic innervation are the vagal. You have the anterior vagal and the posterior vagal. So that's why, student, if you have an impending hyperacidity, you are not responding, you are taking so many medicines, but you are not responding to any medication. So, you are a candidate for phlebotomy. What is phlebotomy? You just open up your... Okay? So, phlebotomy means you're just going to transect the vagus. What is the main, when it is parasympathetic, when there is parasympathetic stimulation in the stomach, what happens? What happened to the hydrochloric acid? Is it more or less? More. There is more. So there will be hypersecretion of the hydrochloric acid, secondary to parasympathetic stimulation. Okay? So the first management, if they are not responding anymore to any medication, is phlebotomy. So you just do a small incision at the epigastric, okay? And then look for the vagus. Come in and then ligate it anteriorly and posteriorly. And mawala na ang hypersecretion. Okay? So that is phlebotomy. Okay, so you know already the blood supply. I told you a while ago the blood supply. Okay, now when you open up, so when you go to your catheter later on, you try to locate the stomach, okay, and see even, try to identify all the blood vessels, the arteries and the veins, okay, so that you will be able to understand them very well. So you have your upper portion, gastric flowing, the left and the right, left gastric, left and the right, so the lower part, and then in the fundus you will see the short gastric artery. Okay? Now inside, what do you see? What do you call this? These are called rugae. Okay? Rugae. But there is another one, straight rugae, that is responsible why when you drink water, the water will be moved toward the lower part of the stomach. What do you call that? What do you call that? That is a vertical line. So that when you drink water, the water will be moved toward the areas of the pylorus. Remember, student, that your stomach, okay, the pylorus portion is divided into three parts. What are the three parts of the pylorus? The most dilated part of the pylorus is what you call... You're correct. Say it. Pyloric antrum. And then it will narrow down where your sphincter is located, what do you call it? Canal. And then the last part is the pylorus prater. Okay, in cases when there is ulcer, which part of the stomach is ulcer common? It is common at the area, okay, that is very close to the incisura apicularis. Why? Why do you think so? That is the pyloric region. Why you see that ulcer is common to the pylorus? It is where most of HCl are being secreted. Okay? So that's why it's common in that area. How about cancer of the stomach? What is cancer of the stomach also common? Also in the area where your pylorus is. Okay? Okay, now if you're going to the muscular part of the stomach, how many muscles do you have in the stomach? Kita nyo naman, oh. What are the muscles of the stomach? You have longitudinal muscles. If you are looking inside the microscope, what are the muscles that you see in the microscope? Yun din naman dito. So if you have longitudinal, ano ito? Oblique. Ano pa yung isa? Okay, so how about the small intestine? How many parts are the small intestine? Okay, so starting from where is the small intestine begins? The small intestine begin where? What do you call the junction where the small intestine begins? Duodenopyloric? Is there something as duodenopyloric? Gastroduodenal junction, okay? So, a pylorus is a C-shaped structure, which is what you call the duodenum, okay? So, the duodenum is C-shaped. So, what will happen is, the stomach will move a bit forward, okay? And then, when it moves a bit forward, actually, pag ganyan yan eh. Okay? Ito dapat ang nasa labas. Okay? So, nakaganyan ang stomach. So, forward, and then it form C-shape. Understand? C-shape siya. And then, in the C-shape, you will find the head of the pancreas. And then, the head of the pancreas is divided into how many parts? The head, the neck, the tail. And it will be very close to the spleen, which is the lymphatic organs or the lymphoid organs on the left side. Okay? So your duodenum is divided into how many parts? Ito nilecture kanina natin. What are the parts? Yeah, siya. What are the parts of the duodenum? If this is C-shape upper, okay, you have the first one, which is the C-shape, okay, so that's the first part. Second part, third part is the transverse or the horizontal, and then it will go up and becomes the fourth part. Okay, so remember, student, that it is all part is significant, but where does your pancreatic duct and the common bile duct enters? In which part of the duodenum? Second or the descending part of the duodenum. Okay? So after the duodenum, which is the next? How long is the entire small intestine? How many feet? There are 20 feet or 6 meters long. Okay? And then, how long is your jejunum, and how long is your ilium? Which one is longer, jejunum or the ilium? Hmm? It's longer. Ilium is longer. 2 feet comprises the jejunum, and 3 feet comprises the ilium. Okay? So you need to understand what are the difference between the jejunum and the ilium. Okay? So the blood supply of your small intestine is coming from where? The blood supply is coming from where? You have the superior mesenteric artery, isn't it? So the superior mesenteric artery will be giving rise to how many branches? L, S, S. Tama ba ako? Hindi. The superior mesenteric artery will be giving rise to how many branches? Tandaan nyo ito. Hemorrhage. What is hemorrhage? The first part is inferior pancreatico-duodenal artery. Okay? The second is the middle colic, right colic, ileocolic, and the jejuno-ileal arteries. Okay? So, all of these supplies the large intestine, and this one is the pancreas. So which one supplies the small intestine arising from the superior mesenteric artery? The jejuno-ileal artery. Okay? So your jejunal arteries which arising from the superior mesenteric artery supplies the jejunum. Okay? And then the ileal supplies your ilium. Now, the jejunum and the ileal arteries will anastomose. And anastomosis will give you what? What do you find at the edges of your small intestine, very close to the edges of the small intestine? They will be forming what? Arcades. Okay, speaking of arcades, which is more vascular? The ilium or the jejunum? Ano ko ba nilecture sa inyo? Which one is more vascular? Okay, you are going to you should find the differences between the jejunum and the ilium. Number one is according to diameter. Okay? So which one is wider? Jejunum or the ilium? Which one is longer? I told you already, ilium is longer. Which one is more vascular? Jejunum or the ilium? Which is which has more abundant, what do you call the partitions inside of the small intestine? Plica, circularis. Okay, which is more? Ilium or the jejunum? Okay, and then when it comes to Peyer's patch, which has more Peyer's patch? The ilium. Why ilium? Because it is closer to the large intestine. Okay, so what is the main function of the small intestine? Okay, remember student that the intestine is the largest endocrine organ of the body. Okay? It secretes hormones. What are the hormones that are being secreted by the small intestine? What are the enzymes that is being secreted by the small intestine. Important din mga yun. Okay? So that's why you need to understand. So hanggang doon ang discussion. Okay, dito. So this is your transfer. Okay? And then you can find ganyan siya. Okay? Good. You see it? So nakaganyan ang stomach. So will you be able to identify all of these in your abdomen? Hindi ko muna i-discuss ang large intestine. The large intestine is mostly supplied also coming from your superior mesenteric artery until what part? Pero hindi pa na-discuss. Okay? Okay, by the way, when it comes to the foregut, embryological origin, which one is the foregut, which one is the midgut, and which one is the hindgut? Yun yung unang i-discuss sa abdomen. Foregut. The main blood supply of the foregut is the celiac artery. Okay, by the way, at what level can you find the celiac level? Celiac artery. Celiac artery is at level T12. Okay? At level T12 is the celiac artery. How about the SMA? Superior mesenteric arteries at level L1. IMA. Where can you find the IMA? What is IMA? Hindi mother, ha? IMA. At level lumbar 3. L3. Okay? So your inferior mesenteric artery will be divided or branching off into 3 branches. Okay? So if your SMA gives to hemorrhage, tandaan nyo na, hemorrhage, okay? Your IMA will give 3. Let's call it. What is S? Sigmoid. And S, superior rectal artery. Okay? Magawa ko yun ng acronym para madaling tandaan. Otherwise, maski paulit-ulit din yung i-memorya, hindi ninyo matatandaan. Pagdating sa, when it comes to the exam, labo-labo na, you cannot remember. And take note, student, that when you look at this hemorrhage, okay, kung nandito yung, ano lang siya eh, this one is the highest, okay? So the inferior pancreaticoduodenal artery supplies what? The transverse colon. The transverse colon plus your, no, the pancreas, I should say. And then what happened to the middle colic? The middle colic will be giving rise to and supplies the transverse colon. Okay? And then what will happen? The right colic will supply the ascending colon. Okay? And then the ileocolic supplies the cecum. So it is from highest going from there going down. Okay? So that you could easily remember it. Pag hindi rin yan, when you memorize it, not according from highest to lowest, then it's hard to remember. Okay? Okay, so you can proceed to your cataverse and then try to identify the stomach and the small intestine. Okay, so it's very important for you to, what you call this, look for all the blood supply and try to identify at your aorta and see the three major unpaired branches, the celiac, the SMA, and the EMA. Okay, proceed now.